Jake Paul has consistently been vocal regarding the inconsistencies with the UFC fighter pay, and now is no different. After Paddy released his payout specifics, Paul had a lot to say. Let's get into the nitty-gritty details of this and other UFC news circling the block. First up, Pimblett's payout has Paul laughing. Jake Paul has taken to Twitter saying that the English fighter was pimped for his work, for his record-breaking display in London, following on from the bombshell revelation that Paddy Pimblett was on a 12-12 deal. In regards to the sum of money the fighters are making, he took no time to lambast officers and managers. In addition to providing healthcare for those placing their bodies on the road, Jake Paul's recent push for Dana White to increase the pay for fighters in the UFC has been aggressive. Paul made his ideas undeniably clear, taking to Twitter by stating that Paddy Pimblett is getting pimped, followed by the question of who is managing these guys. Paddy Pimblett additionally made a $50,000 bonus from the bout, along with the purse paid this to some extent to notice. The Liverpudlian fighter had little or no to say about his ideas on the purse, displaying a stable stage of humility. Pimblett said, "It's just one of those things when you're in a contract. It goes up after every fight, so whatever they want to offer him a new one, they offer him a new one." Last year, following a long tenure with Cage Warriors, which included a reign as the featherweight champion, Pimblett signed with the UFC where via first-round TKO, he won his UFC debut last September against Luigi Vendramini. Considering UFC's purses, how much did he make? The general public typically doesn't have a quick access to the sort of factors that are UFC fight purses. Nonetheless, this hasn't stopped Paddy Pimblett from speaking about how much he was making for his bout in the O2 environment in London. The 27-year-old outdated rising star revealed the precise quantity he made for his most recent combat in opposition to Gazula Vargas in his latest interview with Barstool Sports. He confirmed it to be a 12-12 deal, $12,000 to show up and $12,000 to win. The unbelievable stress positioned upon the person throughout that point and the period of time spent making ready for combat actually make the quantity appear ridiculously far away from the high-spending dream that different members of the UFC have bought the approach to life to be, such as McGregor. Whereas to layman $24,000 could look like a wholesome sum for an evening's work. Compared to the quantity pulled in by the UFC for the Struggle Nighttime occasion, this sum of money additionally pales. In the nighttime event, a surprising $4.5 million was made in the O2 environment. It is the best single-day gate income for a sporting occasion. As a result of the hard work of Paddy Pimblett, that is such a minute amount. Next, Paddy the Rising Star. The purse he received for his bout at UFC London has Jake Paul laughing at the organization, but Paddy Pimblett knows he is a star in the making. Pimblett said that alongside the 12-12 deal, he also received a $50,000 bonus for submitting his opponent in the first round. In the early part of his UFC career, the win put Paddy the Baddie to a solid 2-0. He is easily one of the biggest and brightest rising stars in the organization, although he only has 2 wins. As he's been knocked down in both and put in danger of being finished early in the fights, Pimblett has admitted that some things he has to work on as well. This time, by utilizing some fantastic grappling techniques, he was able to battle back and finish both opponents. His working the rear naked choke on Gazula Vargas via his hip toss while having his back to the cage was very impressive. Up next, Paul's vengeance against White. For how his promotion compensates its roster, Paul has been on an escapade against UFC President Dana White, garnering the support of UFC fighters such as Francis Ngannou and others for speaking out on fighter pay. Paul has been a critic of White openly. For the pay of UFC fighters in particular, Paul has a history of taking shots at the UFC and Dana White. In order to get his fighters paid more, they have even challenged each other to challenges. Most of the time, it comes off as he is trolling rather than being sincere. However, Paul is a huge advocate for fighter pay, including MMA veteran Sam Alvey. However, some fighters feel that Paul's concern about UFC fighter pay are a farce. What's Paul's career trajectory looking like? Knocking his last opponent out cold, Paul last fought against Tyrone Woodley. Paul now holds a 2-0 record over the former UFC welterweight champion Woodley, and it was only their second matchup. He is looking forward to getting back in the ring, but Paul has yet to have a fight slated. The world waits anxiously for his next fight announcement. However, there were rumors going around that Paul could possibly be fighting someone like Anderson Silva, but we can only wait to see for now. Pimblett is anticipating a return to the octagon later this year, and Paul doesn't plan on letting up in the fight for better compensation for UFC fighters on the surface. Now, in other UFC news, McGregor arrested again. On Tuesday, March 22nd in Dublin, Ireland, charged with dangerous driving, former UFC lightweight champion Conor McGregor was arrested and ended up compelling law enforcement to impound his $187,000 Bentley Continental. Eventually released on bail, the 33-year-old had been transported to the local police station. He will be forced to appear in court next month in Blanchardstown regardless of promptly reclaiming his vehicle, but a conviction can result in 6 months in prison, a fine upward of €5,000, or even both. At this point, it seems like pricey Bentleys and UFC superstars are a volatile mix. Fans can expect more details on his latest arrest in the coming weeks. Even McGregor has not and most likely will not comment on his recent run-in with police. Next, Masvidal is pleading not guilty in the Covington case. Following an alleged assault against Colby Covington in Miami, Florida, Jorge Masvidal was recently charged with criminal mischief as well as aggravated battery. On Thursday, March 24th, declaring himself as not guilty, Masvidal entering a plea deal along with a demand for a trial by jury. Next next set to appear in court on April 21st at 9 a.m. He was released on a $15,000 bail. After he allegedly attacked Covington outside the Poppy Steak restaurant in Miami, 2 separate felony charges have come Masvidal's way. A fine of $10,000 or a possible prison sentence of up to 15 years is what one of the 2 charges, the aggravated battery with a mask, can lead to. Additionally, Covington informed police that $15,000 worth of damage was done to the $90,000 Rolex he was wearing during the altercation, which came under criminal mischief. In Florida, where this took place, criminal mischief resulting in merely $1,000 worth of damage is considered a third-degree felony. This was $15,000. Masvidal posted a video on his Twitter the night of the alleged incident that has since been deleted. To hold off on an application for a promoter's license, Masvidal has also since appeared in front of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. When speaking to the commission, Masvidal said he can't say too much on this apart from the fact that he had an argument with another athlete, and if they could reconsider the application for later, it would be great. Lastly, Usman thinks McGregor is a clout chaser. After the Irishman called him out to be his next opponent, reigning UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman has labeled Conor McGregor a clout chaser, trying to become the first triple-weight world champion. McGregor is seen setting his sights on moving to welterweight to take on Usman. Despite him being top of the UFC pound-for-pound rankings, McGregor told the Mac Life podcast that he doesn't see a danger facing Nigerian, naturally leaving Usman unimpressed by the comments. Usman exclusively told Sky Sports that he doesn't take anything that Conor says seriously because he understands he's just a clout chaser and is looking for clout. He continued by saying that just to announce his resurgence, he likes to attach his name to the guy at the top of the sport. Usman believes that obviously his fighting isn't doing the talking anymore, so Conor just wants to keep his name relevant. Usman added that he feels the real competitor is him when asked to touch on whether McGregor is a worthy opponent. He stated that Conor hasn't won a fight in a couple of years. Them being difficult ones is no excuse. That's all we have for you today, folks, but we'll be back with more interesting videos. So keep your eyes peeled to stay informed about the sports industry and keep watching our videos. Tell us what you think about Jake's sentiments regarding Paddy's payout by sounding off in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe before leaving. Signing off!